drifting like a spaceman in the great void, galactically confused. I've been traveling through these Milky Ways, out of my body. Gotta raise up my mind up to the higher ground. Gotta lift up your soul up to world on tour. Cosmic shifting, cosmic drifting, cosmic shifting. Maybe I'm out of this world.
PROBE UK International Convention 2013. Hi. Before even introductions, before we get down to it, I'd like to qualify all you guys and gals a bit. Just some simple buzzwords, questions, and ideas placed in your mind. Here's a few things to cogitate on. Let them sink in so we can start out with an approach of why we are here together. See if it works for you. Anything in common when I say, in life, what bus stop do you get off at? Or, do you know we live on a polarized plane of existence, so that there is love and also hate, thin, fat, tall, short, rich, poor, smart, dumb, clean, dirty, etc. Yeah. We live in a world of opposites and in-betweens here on this plane. So it follows too, good aliens, good spirits, bad spirits, and on and on. Even good people, bad people. Good religions, bad ones. Or how about something you might think of but won't say because of what others might think of you? I'm tired of the black baby's appeal thing. Big business for 200 years. I'm offensive. Say what I think. Get over it. Learn to live with it. Or not. Okay, governments. These are more of the buzzwords, okay? Please bear with, see what you think about them. Governments, no rights, free thinking, controls, implants, RFIDs. All these things should be familiar, especially to people in this audience, people who already are there with these ideas in their heads, okay? Self-defense, you don't need it. Justice, slaves, criminals, or patriots. We know what's best for you. Smoking, foods, social engineering, drugs. It's my body. All of these things, and I'm sure you've thought about them. There is no one reality. Trust no one. Marriage, gays, pedophiles, perverts. Didn't have them in my day. Take arms against the sea of troubles. It works. Miracles, healers, or charlatans. Ever see any one of these healers replace somebody's lost or amputated arm or leg, given their own arm and leg back? Don't see any miracles then, do you? That doesn't happen. Okay, mind controls, the media, truth versus fiction. Ever get a real answer from social institutions? Politics? Mind controls, yes. Who really gives a damn? Anybody helping? Feel alone? We're all in this together. Really? The ruling elites. Nothing can be done. Climate gate, green energy, government-run industry, overpopulation, unending wars and greed, corruption, bankers go free, pass go. Cyprus, maybe New Zealand, Australia, stealing money from everybody's deposit accounts. Time to quit the European Union. Is this a political speech? Well, we'll get into that. But I like the hear, hear. Yes, thank you. It's clobbering time. Higgs boson. What the hell is that? The God particle. Shuffleboard physics. Game boards that keep changing. We'll tell you how later. Nothing makes sense anymore. Okay, maybe we are here together in this hall, right? More in each other's heads now, I hope so anyway, with these little buzz things that I've thrown into your minds. We will see. Stop. Okay, I'm Sweeps Fox, and it is nice to be here with you all in a hall with inquiring minds. It's most unusual. An hour and a half, though, or something like that, that Sam's given me, hardly gives me enough time to spit. It's hoped that this will at least minimally create a stir of breeze across your minds. Why the hell would anyone dedicate themselves to getting this message out, these kinds of messages, and subject and expose themselves to the ridicule which this mission attracts? And of course, largely, there are no financial rewards doing this. It is kind of fun being here with you, but there's no financial rewards, all right? Okay, allow me please to state this next thing and not mention it again, hopefully. But there are pedestrians, and then there are insiders. Nothing wrong with being pedestrian, nothing wrong with pedestrians who experience things which are anomalous or strange or different. Okay? That's great. Insiders, though, are privy to things secret and kept from the public. That's the difference. Yes, I've been an insider. I'll tell you more about that later, a little later. I will not talk about this again, I hope, but there are definitely pedestrians, and then there are insiders. Okay, I was originally, the first thing I like to tell you about myself, and I don't like to go on about it, but the first thing is that I was at the original Woodstock. Yay, applause. I was, okay? And that was a great time. I really enjoyed it. I actually had set up a nursing tent there in Woodstock, the Asgroves Farm, for the 3 days of rain and merriment and this type of thing. Hey, you can get 100 drunks together, and you can expect all kinds of fisticuffs and fights and agitation and violence. We had about 1 million people in Woodstock. They were all on drugs. Hey, man, mellow. Weren't any fights. Nothing like that. I just thought I'd let you know. Okay, let's go on to this screen here, if you will. Please, Winston, let me point out something here. First of all, I've had 21 appearances on Coast to Coast in the States. As a frequent guest on radio shows, a veteran of 2 foreign wars, in military intelligence for about 18 years. That's why I'm an insider. I was also the founder and coordinator of the Royal Saudi Arabian Army Combat Medics. I did a lot of different things in different guises. Okay, I also taught Arabic speaking to both British and American soldiers in the Gulf War to prepare them for that area of their service, you know. And we had huge audiences. We had 800, 900 people, soldiers in the audience learning Arabic. 90% of them got certificates of completion, which was fantastic. If you want, you can go to this picture here. I got a pen, don't I? Yeah. Go to that one there and blow that up. Give some authenticity to my talk. That's me, believe it or not, with Saudi generals. That's Faridi, right next to me, and across from him is Brigadier General Otabi, he was the head of the Armed Forces Hospital in Riyadh, okay? Both of them pretty high military figures. Okay, that's enough of that one. Let's see what else we got here. Paranormal Ireland. Like I said, I was a subject of books. That's one where there's a chapter simply called Sweeps. It's now in its 5th publishing edition. It's been sold to a Canadian company. Okay, thanks, Winston. We can go back now. I've been the consort of presidents. I've seen a few presidents, okay? And one of them was, if I can hold that there, that's Kennebunkport, Maine. In case you people don't know, that is the residence still of the first President Bush. I had to go there from Saudi Arabia to see him. You can go to the next shot too. We'll show you his actual house and how I looked during the war when I was pretending to be Arabic. If you go to the one next to it here. In the States, they don't really like people with beards, but that's me. And right across there is President Bush's house, okay? Now, I drove up there to give him my report, and the guard at the gate there sent me over to another house in Kennebunkport, which was funny because as soon as I knocked on the door, I had about 15 Secret Service agents attack me. I had a beard. Okay, they hung out the door, they hung out the windows, they came around both sides of the house. So the guy at the gate was saying, I don't know about this guy, you know, so I'm going to send him to your house instead of the house he's supposed to go to. So I had to give them the code and then tell them with a smile on my face that I had to say, hey, I'm with you guys, I'm one of you, you know. The only time a Secret Service agent draws his weapon is to kill you. So I'm looking to make sure they're not drawing their weapons, okay? So I go to the next house, and this guy lets me in. He has his young daughter in the kitchen with him and stuff, and he's all smiles, offering me coffee, tea, and the time of day, and takes my report, and blah, blah, blah. So got the report through finally. But that's just a sort of a little story, put you in the picture. Okay, let's go back here, Winnie. And one of the other things, and you can't get this, that's a keychain that was given to me when I went to visit President Nixon in San Clemente, California. San Clemente, California is what they call the La Pacifica, the Western White House. And I had to go to see him about some papers and stuff like that. That's when he was out of office. And I met him on the beach. Still got a picture at home, but couldn't find it for this presentation. With him on the beach, him and I sitting together with his faded little seal on his presidential nylon jacket that he wore. Okay, let's see what else we're going to find in the way of presidents here. Let's, well, we'll do that later, okay? But that's me in Saudi Arabia, training the Royal Saudi Arabian Army Combat Medics, of which I was the founder, strangely enough. Crazy looking guy, huh? Probably look worse now. Okay, that's enough of that. if we can go to, let's see, the next, we'll do this first, I think, because people should know the rest of these things. Does anybody remember seeing Charlie Hall here? Oh, I know you do. Charlie Hall is what? Who is Charlie Hall? He is the author of the books on the tall whites. The tall white aliens that he worked with in the Air Force, Nellis Air Force Base, adjacent to Area 51, okay? In Nevada, Indian Springs, Nevada. And he's written 4 books on the tall whites. He's just finished his 5th book, and this is on the Greys. And I was talking to him the other day, and he was saying, I don't want you to tell people where the Greys are from, but let them know if you go to Charlie Hall, if you do the computer thing, you can go to a search engine, type in the Greys or Charlie Hall, Greys book, and he has an e-book that you can download for that, or you can get the hardbound copy, okay, from Amazon.com. But that's his latest book. He is now going on a tour of Australia, Charlie Hall. Amazing guy, working with aliens. He was scared to death for 6 months before he could even admit to himself that he was dealing with people from another planet, that our Air Force and our military, some of our politicians, were working with, believe it or not. Okay, if you read his books, you'll believe it. Duncan Rhodes of Nexus magazine sure as hell believes it. Charlie gave him a lot of proof. And Duncan Rhodes said reading his books was therapeutic for him, opened his eyes about a lot of things. Okay, so Charlie Hall is now touring Australia with Glenys Mackay. Now, Glenys Mackay was on my radio show several times. She's a good friend of mine, but she didn't tell me that Charlie was coming. So when Charlie told me he was going to Australia, I said, I know people over there like Glenys Mackay. He said, did she tell you? And I said, no, one of the people I know over in Australia. Okay, so anyway, he's over there. He should be here at this convention talking to you in October. I think Sam's arranged that, right? Don't be too vocal. Okay, wave your hand, good. Okay. So Charlie Hall, yeah, fantastic guy. Let's get back to the main thing here. When I was in Saudi Arabia, they have certain companies, like Northrop. This is Peace Hawk. This is the RSAF, the Royal Saudi Arabian Air Force, okay? That's the patch I wore, actually, above top secret Air Force Base, just outside of Taif in Saudi Arabia, where we were training Saudi pilots and Saudi mechanics. We used to send up, and sometimes on my order, now that's hearsay, you have to take it any way you want, but we would see bogies, which is the code name, of course, for UFOs, flying saucers at all. We see them on the radar scope all the time. We'd send sorties up to chase them. Knew we weren't going to catch them, but they'd be on the radar scope. We'd send up sorties almost 2 or 3 times a week. Get up there, they'd blink off the radar scope. They just blink out. They don't go anywhere. You don't chase them. They just blink out. Get back on the ground, the planes that were up in the air, immediately they blink on again. They're on the radar scope. And we say, hell with you. We're not going to keep chasing you all the time. But we did a lot, okay? So that's the patch I wore when I was working for Peace Hawk. Tadrib Tamarin fil Sahara, in the desert. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Some of the crazy people I associate with. Anybody tell me who that is that I'm with? Very prominent. The Pope knows them, the new one does. They all did. That's me with him holding the sword. He is the head of the Knights of Malta. The chap next to him with the cape and the crest is his chancellor. Of course, they're all involved in the Vatican banking system and things like that. Okay? We can go away from that now. What else? As long as we're talking about Charlie Hall, this is what a tall white looks like. That's a depiction. They're literally as white as a sheet of paper. And you'll have to read his books to find out more, but they're there. And they come in every full moon from probably a planet like, or a planetoid system called Arcturus. That's our guess. Okay? That's what they look like. Okay, Winnie. Let's take a look at some of the people that come to my office. Anybody know anything about Desmond Leslie? Who probably got things started in this era about flying saucers with his first book, Flying Saucers Have Landed. He wrote that in conjunction with George Adamski from the States, okay? That's him sitting in my office. And him and I were great friends. We did a lot of work together, too. We shared a lot of intel as insiders. He was one of the World War II surviving Spitfire pilots, too, by the way. Okay, let's go back and we'll look at, people might know this fella here. If I can find the right side of this. George Green. Anybody familiar with George Green? He was picked as Jimmy Carter's finance minister, to put it that way in British terms, okay? And he decided not to be picked. Okay, but that's George Green. He goes all over the world now talking about UFOs, and he saw UFOs when he was in the Army. Okay, what else have we got here? Just so we can get rid of this one. Here is a scout ship coming into the atmosphere. Tall white scout ship, folks. Last time I was here, I passed out leaflets on this, okay? That was a craft captured by NASA and then captured by other people who captured NASA transmissions. That's a tall white scout ship. They're all over the world, tall white scout ships. Keep your eyes peeled for them. Okay, let's go to the next one there, and we'll show you a scale version of that. That's a tracing of, to illustrate the scan lines to make sure it's real. Well, it's real. And they've been seen in the northern hemisphere countries like, well, Scandinavia, Greenland, this type of thing, to Iceland, okay? But they've been seen, so keep your eyes peeled. And you want to see flying saucers? You can go back to the main picture. I noticed when I was walking around the hall in the back, they are selling, and I have nothing to do with these concessions, okay? I don't make money out of this, but I'm just pointing you back there. They sell these ultraviolet infrared goggles. If you want to see flying saucers that you can't see with your normal range of vision, you wear these goggles. You'd be surprised how many more UFOs you're going to see with these goggles on. You go out at night, especially with these goggles on, and they light up the sky. And let people tell you after that, after you've seen your first UFOs, that they don't exist. Okay? Okay, we live in this tight little reality box here. Last year, an estimated 37 million people worldwide admitted to seeing flying saucers, okay? And the numbers are growing. Probably you can now look forward to seeing UFOs starting to show up in front of football stadiums, shopping malls, large crowds, this type of thing. And there's a reason for this, that this will be happening along now, okay? So why some of you are probably asking yourselves, why don't I see them? Well, get some goggles for one thing if you want. But yeah, people see what they want to see. People who want to see UFOs seem to see them. People can block off things very well. They can live in this world of appearances. They can look at the world as a 3D, only solid one-world reality, which it is not. But this is how successfully people can block out things and block themselves off at the same time from the boundless that's in each of us. So if you want to see flying saucers, you will. But if you really don't want to, it's like this whole thing where you get a telephone call or you get a letter from somebody you haven't seen in years, okay, and you had just been thinking about them. Synchronicity. It's the simplest form of paranormal event that happens to everybody. Some people can even block that successfully. They call it something else. What a coincidence. Believe me, there is no such thing as mere coincidence. Can we go back to that, Winnie? Is there anything we haven't shown you there? Nah, we'll get rid of that. Let's go, we'll give these folks a little break here while I decide what I'm going to charm them with next, okay? Go into the film clips. And I was talking about being received and consorting with presidents. Anybody remember President Robinson? Fantastic. Anyway, I've got a little film clip here. We need sound on that too, though. Okay? And this will, a short little film, just to show you my family.
Yeah,
and
Daddy's the first car through the gate, aren't we?
We are, can you believe it?
Yeah, Daddy knows
Jesus.
the guards.
These bloody floors.
And Nick was on the gate.
Leave it to Jim to know the security boy on the gate. He let us in. Numero uno.
this was a family day, the last family day of her administration, so I wanted to get my family in, but it shows you,
Here we are.
here we are.
Look who's here. The jammy devil. As he climbs the stairs. Looks very much at home here, doesn't he?
And so I was.
There's Ronnie Drew from the Dubliners, folks, going to entertain us here today.
There is also an additional number of you who are here because I wanted to specially invite you, because after all, this is going to be our last family day of this kind. And I've been conscious, as President, of the quiet links of support that there are with various departments of state and various state agencies. The Department of the Taoiseach, Foreign Affairs, Finance, the Gardaí, the Defence Forces.
Look at this.
That's my family in the front row.
Of an autumn day,
And that's me filming the president. That's how close I was to her.
that her dark hair would weave us.
And my wife is pregnant with our third kid there. She was born a month later.
I saw the danger, yet I passed. In the battle of Dublin, G in the court, 1, 2, 3, my family huge. And Mark Mooney said he loves her, all the boys are fighting for her. Up at the door and they ring the bells.
That's not me, that's an RTE cameraman.
Just enjoying this thoroughly.
This is my
friend here.
Oh, I see.
Brandon Rahman is mine.
Rahman.
Brendan Rahman.
H-A-M-A-N, Rahman.
The Rahman is okay, but what about the
I'm the
Brendan?
Music Police Commander with the Air Corps in Baldonnel. That's my job. It's
not my fault.
I'm just here today because Jim came here. I was trying to sell me ABT.
Oh, dear. Poor sale.
Okay, good
Yeah,
save.
the 10 o'clock news.
That's at the Irish White House.
Boy, we lucky.
The Aras an Uachtaráin.
For the house. Go into your house now and take a look around.
Okay.
Okay?
Just don't buy the place when
No.
I'm in there, Jim.
Well, we thought maybe we could rent a room anyway. Thanks.
That's that one. Fantastic person. Right. In the late 40s, and even into the late or early 50s anyway, the media, newspapers, radio, television in those days, they did straight reporting. UFOs were a big news item, and that was to be reported on, okay? It was Saturday and Sunday night, July 19th and 20th, 1952, time Washington, D.C. UFO formation flyovers over the restricted zone, over the White House. Then suddenly this type of reporting stopped. Thanks to MJ-12 and multiple other agencies, okay? In our Milky Way system, we're going to jump here a little bit. But maybe first we'll give you a little show on this combat medics thing. Just as long as we're here with the film clips, if you want to, yeah. Some of the training we do with the Saudis back then. You want to interpret that?
لو سمحتوا يا شباب.
اسمع. The whole exercise. I hate to tell you guys this, okay? Tell them that to start.
People hear
I
that?
hate to tell you. Out of the 2 courses that we've taught,
That's
this
16
exercise
groups each
today
course.
was probably the worst, except for the rock climb, that I've ever seen.
يحب يقول لكم ملاحظاته على التدريب اللي احنا سويناه اليوم واللي صح انتم قمتوا فيه انه يتاسف جدا انه التدريب او انتم تطبيقكم للتدريب نفسه ما كان بالصوره اللائقه المفروض انكم قمتوا فيه الا حقين اللي ماجد
خلاص ماجد.
الا حقين اللي نزلوا تحت اسفل الجبل.
Most of you people here seem to think this is a big joke.
أكثركم يعتقدون إنه هذا كان مثل نوع من الرحلة الاستمتاعية، أنكم استمتعتوا بالطلعة هنا أكثر من إنه تدريب أو تطبيق للدروس اللي أخذتوها.
You were found laughing, you were found talking too much, you were found joking too much.
وجد أنكم تضحكون كثير، تتكلمون كثير، وتمزحون بكثرة.
We're going to go back and review this film that we took today, and we're going to stop it and show you everything you've done wrong. And most of the film will be what you've done wrong because you did very little right.
يقول إنه
What a son of a bitch, huh? Typical instructor.
حنعرض الفيلم ولما نعرض الفيلم حنوريكم أخطاءكم، حنوقف التصوير من فترة إلى فترة وحتشوفون الأخطاء اللي أنتم سويتوها خلال التدريب.
The search and rescue team, not bad. You did pretty good on the rocks. The Elage team did pretty good. The victims, what can you say? The victims always do good. Yes, questions. Anybody.
بالنسبة للبحث والإنقاذ عملوا جيد. بالنسبة لحقين العلاج عملوا برضو جيد. المصابين دائما يعملوا عمل جيد لأنه مصاب ويؤدي عمله بالنسبة لدور الإصابة حقهم.
The ABC team was terrible. They did,
Just speed it up,
they did
you know,
not
fast
know
forward.
how to treat a victim. They didn't know what to do first. They didn't know triage.
Okay, that's good, that's good. This is the next day after we had them practice and practice and practice till they couldn't walk.
damam group, okay? Much more damam aliyom mumtaz jidden, rakam ol, much more. Ana mabsood jidden.
I think you did a good job, guys.
And
You did a better job.
After the last day, we're very, very proud of them. They did a hell of a job tonight. Okay, even though we had the American presence here too. We had Major Zamora, Sergeant Dean, Sergeant Tripp from the U.S. Army Medics Corps. We had Colonel Muteri out here as well. And I think these boys performed just to everybody's satisfaction today. We're very proud of you
That's
guys.
enough for that one. Thanks, Winston. Okay. In our Milky Way galaxy alone is now believed to be, by astronomers thanks to the Hubble telescope, okay, to have as many as 4,500,000,000 Earth-like planets just in our Milky Way galaxy. Now, the Milky Way galaxy has about 200 to 300 billion suns. Billion. Okay? Amazing. And it's a lot of space to waste if there's nothing out there, huh? Mathematically, it seems likely beings from a few of these planets have already reached Earth. Of course, we know they have. But there's also interdimensional things, which we'll talk about. Let's take a look just basically at our one universe, and we'll explain that shortly. This has all changed too. Can we go to that? There's a folder there, I think, that says universe, the universe. That's it, okay. That's the knowable extent, or the extent of the known universe, about 15, 16 billion light years across, okay? If we go to near star systems, yeah, these are the ones nearest to our solar systems. The ones I'm really fond of are Tau Ceti, Epsilon Arondae, Epsilon Boötes, which is not dotted there, but anyway, it's there. Those are all within 10 light years. We'll go to the next one. This is a local group of galaxies. Look at that, 3 million light years across this group. It's called the local group of galaxies. Next. That's the local supercluster. And you can see that we're completely lost in there now. This is 130 million light years across, okay? Next one, just to give you a taste of the universe. This is our Milky Way galaxy, okay? 300,000 light years across. Okay, and now you know the observable universe as we did know it. We can maybe just go back to the film clip thing now and just have it hang there. Okay. Maybe the UFOs came from what? Another star system in our galaxy, in our universe somewhere? Well, people, they are all wrong. We now are forced to, have to, allow that our entire cosmo-conception is screwed up. Of course, everything keeps changing anyway, doesn't it? Okay. Nothing like we've encountered from any schooling, teachers, astronomers, science exploration craft, religions, or any other educational facility. We really don't live in a universe at all. Some people like to talk about the physical universe and coronal masses, ejections, and things like that. Yes, they're there and things like that. But what is the universe? What is our universe? All the different theories. You have the creationists, right? And you have the Big Bang theories and the string theories and all of that. Leading scientists and those in the know have broken our total library of truths taught to us by exposing a whole new Copernicus
type of revolution and revelation, a new discovery. We actually live not in a universe. We're just a little bubble. Remember the extent of the known universe picture? 15, 16 trillion light years across. Okay. That is only a tiny bubble. We emerged or were created or banged out of other universes. There are uncountable, probably billions of other universes. Our entire universe is but a bubble in time-space of a multi-universe, or we just call it shortened form now, multiverse. So when someone talks to you about, hey, do you know anything about the universe? You can say, you mean, do you know anything about the multiverse? That's how small we are, or how large we are. And the Buddhists knew that a long time ago. They called it point bindo. Okay. So, look at these samples here. If the world isn't anything like our eyes see, our ears hear, or like anything our five physical senses tell us about it, we have all been kept in a one-world view reality box. It's all a part of being able to predict and control people and their ideas. So let's talk a bit about reality itself. Let's do some reality checks. Okay, so let's see if we can blow your minds a little bit on this, okay? There is nothing out there. There's no color, there's no taste, texture, smell, odors. There's no sound. There are only vibrations and frequencies, which our senses, our set of something, whatever we are, can perceive and in some way agree to discern and make known to our set of something. But there's nothing really out there except the vibrations and frequencies. But we make them as part of our set something that we can taste, smell, feel, all the five senses that we are generally familiar with. All of our body cells, if you want to go into like 60 trillion cells in the average human body, okay? It's a lot of zeros, huh? 60 trillion. Okay, molecules and atomic particles. All of them are in a constant state of flux. They are changing all the time. It's like the old Native American or American Indian thing, okay? You can't step in the same river twice. Why? It's flowing, it's changing all the time. Same with everything in this world of appearances. Everything is in a constant state of flux, changing all the time. So, if this is the case, everything changing all the time, your body cells doing the same thing, how is it possible for us to preserve our I identities? Everything's changing. How do we know we're still the same person that we were, or who we are, our I identity? What ultimately then is consciousness? Spirit? If that's the case, then perhaps all of our laws of nature and behavior are only habits. If one changes one's habit about consciousness, about reality, we could have worlds upon worlds upon worlds to explore. As Michael Talbot, people must remember him, I hope, who wrote The Holographic Universe, right? Michael Talbot said, people respond
This is a fantastic thing to remember. People respond to the model of reality in their heads. The holographic universe, the world of appearances, or the world that we perceive or want it to be, or the parts we block out. It's in all the papers, on TV, on YouTube, this type of thing. See if we can do this one, please. Miles, can you come up here with me and just stand by, and if you'd help out here?
Where would they be, Miles?
Just there.
Okay.
But I normally get them right about there. Sometimes
On the other
they do
side, huh?
actually-
What direction is that?
That would be towards Oma, so that would be
Okay,
northwest.
right, northwest. That's where they came from last night, northwest. So the car is stuck. The immobilizer turns off okay, there's no problem, just that it won't start, and the temperature gauge is fine. So we don't know what the hell's going on. Something's affecting as it has done in the past.
This is at a pirate radio station that I ran in
Something's affecting
Ireland
the
for 9
electrical.
years, and
Absolutely
Sweeps came up
insane.
and visited us right on
It
the
does
Irish
happen.
border.
So,
And we had lots of UFO
we've got two guys
sightings,
shooting
and
each
that's
other.
an
We got
RTE television camera crew
that could interfere
wearing a
with-
moustache at the time under disguise.
Going down.
But what we would see would be these little lights, and Sweeps turned up one day, and we saw, and the car there wouldn't work.
Turned itself off. And I can't get it on because I don't know the PIN number. Isn't
Thanks.
that lovely? Well,
Just
folks, this is just
verification.
some of the anomalies that happen on alien.
We're right on the border. That hill on this far side there is where UFO landed, a reptilian craft. So we're right on the Irish border within about 100 meters.
Even the immobilizer light isn't working. I don't know what the hell's going on.
And this is on a ley line
We
which
saw the two
connects
white blips
between
right over here.
Belfast and Sligo. That little mound there
Everybody's gonna
is where the army used to have a base.
see if we can get it pushed and see.
And this is an early part of the radio station which we ran from the top of this mountain.
See, that's the funny part now. That's on full, isn't it?
Very, very brief sighting of this object which we're referring to in the distance.
It should be blinking, and it's never done that before.
Thank you, sir.
So we can't get this car moving unless we can get the immobilizer off. But it's not even a familiar immobilizer problem, because that red button in there is fully on. It's not blinking at all. This is phenomenal. So there was a landline after all. Miles found, oh, they knew about it, of course, but we're trying the mobiles. That's what I call Marion inside the station. Hopefully you should be able to get a hold of Tom Larkin or Oliver McKenna. I'll call her back in 10 minutes. Miles has gone over to investigate this very strange light that's just come on. It looks like it's, oh no, we're going to keep an eye on that, folks. Just to
Just
see what it
hovering
might
there.
be. Wow. Nope. Let's try to configure this. So what is it?
It's damn bright, whatever it is.
It's very bright and
Is it
on it. You got it on you.
light, whatever it is?
Can you get that column on your camera? Well, it's stationary though, so we'll see what happens to it. It might be from Larkin's garage, I hope. There's Miles, this is the guy from Larkin's garage. Never seen anything like this before where the light stays on completely.
Oh, yeah.
You know? On the dash.
I tell you, there's about 5 of them here, Tom, with 5 video cameras on me.
5 video cameras on them. It was a filming day. We were filming the broadcasting up there that day. And all of this happened. We said, this is great. It's happening, and we got 5 camera crews up here.
Yeah, we're ready, Stephen. Thanks. Let's go. And we have this officer from Amyvale here who I've been talking to about our experiences on the mountain. And so we're talking to each other about what goes on in this area. Nice to see him here. He knows. Nice to meet you.
Essentially, what happened there was, just to bring it into context, is that we ran a radio station there called KISS FM in 1987 to 1989. And what happened was, it was a consciousness transfer. It was part of a whole series of awareness rising
Yeah, so these things happen. Sometimes you don't meet the people that they happen to, but you just met two of them. Okay. Let's change tack here a little bit, okay? Let's talk about some wild things, like things that happen to you personally. I'm sure everybody has some tale like this if you haven't blocked it. Okay? But how about ghosts of pets? Let's talk about ghosts. How many of you have had the experience where you lost a pet, say a cat, or a dog, or whatever, a house pet, okay? And you find one night that after he or she has passed away, you can feel them padding across your bed to their place next to you that they used to do when they were on this plane of existence. How many people have had an experience with past pets that they could feel? Yeah, and there's enough hands going up, so we have people here that aren't blocking, which is a good thing. Now, of course, it doesn't happen to everyone, but when it does happen, you know it's happening. Okay? Drift into this with me. These experiences and others like them shaped me and expanded a lot of my horizons, so I thought about unblocking more if I could. So it's my favorite topic, because it's about things that happen to me. But you can identify with them, okay? I'm just throwing some of these out here. Some of these are documented things. A lot of them happened to me in the States, but these are things that scientists, psychologists, and people came in on because we had witnesses. I was working as a night supervisor, inpatient unit, at a major Chicago mental health center. No, I wasn't a patient. I was an intake supervisor. Okay? But, center for a long time. She went to, I think it was Arizona, was it? No, New Mexico, sorry. And she was a bright young gal. And the whole intake crew that I was in charge of would miss her, you know, and her office was vacant now. We're waiting to fill it. And I came in early one day, and I was the only one in the intake area, and I heard this voice coming from her office. I said, my God, I thought she should have been where she was heading, to New Mexico already. And maybe she's still clearing out her office. And I could hear her talking. And I was saying hi and good morning. I thought you were gone already and blah, 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 okay? But it seemed strange that she was alone, that she was alone and nobody else was with her, and she was talking. When I walked in, she was talking to someone, I thought, but she wasn't talking to anyone, really. It turns out I entered the office and looked around. Nobody was there. Now, I heard her, and I know her voice, of course, worked with her for months anyway, and thought she must be tricking me or kidding me or something like that. But a full search of every nook and cranny in the area showed nothing. Couldn't find her, okay? And at the time, on the other end of the interview office, we got the tragic news. One of the social workers came in, one of her best friends, and told the crew that she had received a phone call from the girl's mother that this girl I'm talking about had been killed on a motorcycle. She was into motorcycles. Maybe one of the reasons she moved away to have more open space to ride her motorcycle. And she was riding in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And she had been alive when she was put in the ambulance, but of course she died en route. So did part of her come back? Anybody believe that? Yeah. Why not? Ghosts. Okay. Have we got that picture of our ghost here? Well, we're searching for the picture of the ghost. March 2011, this conference, PROBE Convention. I was filming the audience from the podium as part of my talk. As Charlie Hall was here, who worked with the Tall Whites. Remember I was telling you about him. Okay. I was filming the audience because sometimes tall whites in disguise, actually, where he was talking, giving his talks in the States, they would go disguised and be in the audience or be in the convention center. So I said, if there's one here, I'm going to get that one. It was coming right through the porter's trolley, right? And Winston knows all about it. But this little girl here, Elizabeth, was the first one that alerted me to it by email and said, you know, you got some strange thing here. Yeah, there it is. Oh, you blow it up. What does that look like, folks? That's a frame grab from the video. You can find, anybody that wants to go find the whole thing, it's 8 minutes and 2 seconds into the YouTube video. If you go into a search engine and put Sweeps Films Ghost, you'll get the whole thing. We just grabbed a frame from this, and Winston actually did that. And this is not a creature coming through, walking through or sitting on the porter's trolley. He's actually coming through. Can you tell him a little bit about how impossible it would be to fake that?
Yes, I actually enhanced this myself. Can you just borrow that pen, Sweeps? Never mind, I'll use this one. That's actually me, sat there. These are some porter wheels that we had stored at the back of the row of seats here, which we're being using to bring things in and out, the sound equipment and what have you. Sweeps actually left his camera on here, picked it up, walked straight down the aisle, which is a slightly different arrangement to today, through the audience, filmed around, came back, and he posted the video. Liz spotted this. It was in about 10 seconds section of the video. Yeah, this is one of the clearer frames. Now the interesting thing is, this entity it appears to be sitting, but the frame of the porter's wheels is actually visible through his body. That is actually right at the back. We have separate photos taken at the back of the hall at the same time, which show the porter's wheels stood there. And there is no chair here. This entity is just in a sitting position in front of the porter's wheels, with the porter's wheels visible through him. And when you see it very clearly on a large blow-up, you can see that the frame actually sort of passes through his body. It is bizarre. And a strange-looking creature with sort of sunken eyes, almost.
Okay, what happened was I was panning the camera, and this creature, ghost, whatever, okay, was there. I panned further to the left of the audience, and I came back, it was gone. And you'll see that on the YouTube, that it disappeared. Huh? Yeah, in a matter of seconds, it was gone. Just captured it at the right time. Amazing, isn't it? So, when you see pictures on the internet about ghosts, we've got one on film. You see them on staircases, and you see them in abandoned houses and things like that. Actually, they're more prolific than people realize, okay? But when we cut ourselves off from the boundless, and the funny thing is, I didn't see it until it was brought to my attention. I was looking for tall whites in disguise, okay? Okay, let's get back to these, we'll just go to the film clips again, but we'll get back to these things that happened to me, and probably these things can overflow into the audience because you might be able to identify something in your own experience about them. There was another psychologist that was working with me in the intake crew in this hospital, mental hospital in Chicago. Okay, and she had been down to the city in Chicago, and she left her purse down there inadvertently. She realized she left her purse down there when she got back. And she said she received a phone call from someone, a man who said he had found her purse and wanted her to pick it up. Now, I'm a little streetwise. I've been in the Army too, been in intelligence, for years. Okay, so I told her, I said, I wouldn't go down alone.
This could be a scam. Somebody could be waiting for you, kidnap you, or do anything to you, or pervert, who the hell knows. So she took my advice. But on the morning she was to go with a male friend to get the purse, she choked on something caught in her throat and died quickly, about the same time she would have been going down to get her purse. Now, the question that you want to ask yourself, sort of a CSI television thing, isn't it? What happened to her? Okay, I wonder, like to this day, if she was destined. Is there such a thing? For it, in some frame, was she supposed to die that day? And no matter what happened, what's that movie they made where they escape death on the airplane and death keeps trying to catch up with them, or whatever it is? But you know what I mean? These things can happen, but you say to yourself, gee, I wonder about that, and she still died the same day. At about the same time she would have been going down for her purse. So that's very, very odd. Paranormal events and alternate possibilities are non-fixed nor attached. They exist apart from, yet intertwined in the paradoxical sense of truth. Awareness and higher consciousness techniques make the doors open more readily, being open to it. Okay? In a multi-varied and career-changing life, I've drifted between cities, lived and worked in many states and countries, and was fortunate enough to holiday and vacation in others. I've lived high, slummed a lot, and enjoyed the middle ground, and the swinging continues. Met a lot of interesting people. I'm sure a lot of you are. It's nice to meet you, by the way. Early in a professional nursing career, I was also the evening supervisor of the biggest New York State psychiatric hospital. At one time, it had a population of 5,000 inpatients. It was down to about 1,000 when I was there. Now, my relief supervisor, I was the supervisor on the evening shift. I was relieved for the night shift by a regular, what they call nurse supervisor. Of course, they call them male nurses in those. I don't know why. You don't call female nurses female nurses. Why do they call male nurses male nurses? You're either a nurse or you're not, So anyway, I was waiting to be relieved and preparing the reports and this type of thing. And pretty soon, I could see him coming outside, because the supervisor's office overlooks the walkway and the door into the administrative section. So I could see him coming up the steps and into the hall. And we have a book outside where you sign in when you're coming on duty, and you sign out when you're going off duty. I don't know why they did that, but they did that. So he came in and he signed, right? And I turned around and I'm getting my books ready to show him. And he wasn't there. I said, that's very odd, and I went out into the hall and I looked for him. He wasn't there. And I looked at the book he signed in, and there was no signature there. I said, what the hell is this? This is weird. A few minutes later, I'm looking out the window again, and here he comes. Same clothes that same coat and everything that he wore. Come into the hallway, administrative area, and this time he bent over the same way, signed in the book, and came in. He said, gee, I'm sorry I'm late a few minutes, because we're always usually on time with each other, relieving. So what happened? That was my first experience of a Doppelganger. What's a Doppelganger? It's a German word. It means the ghost that you send that comes before you. Okay? But there's other descriptions of it too. For example, Goethe, the great German poet, writer, philosopher, thinker, and all of that, had an episode in his life where he passed his own double on horseback. going the other way, and years later he was that double, coming back to view himself as he was when he had seen himself as the first double. So that was my first experience, actually observing an experience in a doppelganger. I don't know if any of you have had that experience. It's very rare, but it happens. Have you? Really? Do you want to share that? Huh? Okay, here, let's give her a mic and...
I think this is a doppelganger experience. I went out, I'd been staying overnight with my best friend, and I got up early, went out for a walk in the park and left him asleep in bed. I was walking around the park, and I think I was in a different state of consciousness. I must have been, because when I came round to the side of the park, I saw him bring the rubbish out, and I went over and called to him. He didn't answer me, so I thought, oh, okay, I'll talk to him in a minute when I go back in. I went back in, and he was still in bed, and I said, oh, you're up then? And he said, what are you talking about? And I said, but I just saw you outside taking the rubbish. And he said, I haven't been out of the house, I've been in bed all this time. He'd only just woken up, but it was absolutely him, the same clothes, it wasn't someone who just looked like him, it was him. I was absolutely convinced that I saw him taking the rubbish out, and he said, I haven't got up yet. So I can only, it was a weird experience, but, it was very strange, but it was him,
Certainly appreciate that. That's fantastic. So we've had a lot of verification here, and I'm sure that you all have your own experiences in the anomalous anyway, or you wouldn't be here. Or maybe someone dragged you? I don't know. It's nice to have you here anyway. How about just UFOs? Approximately 4,000 satellites or so circling the planet, right? A lot of junk stuff up there too. But only about 1/4 of the satellites are really actually operational or functioning, okay? The ephemeris used by astronomers and scientists and ufologists, they list all the movements and all the orbits of these satellites. So we know where they are and when they are passing or expected to be overhead. There's also websites now to show over your own house when satellites are going to appear in orbit, okay? So you can go out and see these bright lights going across the sky sometimes on a non-cloudy... Do we have non-cloudy days here? Okay, things like that. Right. It's called Heavens Above is one of the websites. You know that one? Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, on 10 July 1999, at 20 minutes to, should I say that? No, I shouldn't. I should say 0040 hours. Talk about a telepathic contact. When you're open, you get all kinds of strange things happening to you. Okay. I heard a voice. Now, I don't go around, I was a psych supervisor, but I still never went around hearing voices in my head. This was the first time. And I'm just sitting there, and this voice comes into my head, and it says, go out now. I said, what? Right? What are you going to do with that when you really hear that? And you say, go out now. Okay, I'm going to go out now. And I happen to have, somebody knew, my video camera. Different one than that, of course. But a video camera, this is 1999. I went outside, and I'm just staring out the back door, and this bright light comes just under the first star I can see at night, okay? And it starts doing immediately a high-speed right-angle turn, like that. I got it on video. I've got it on my YouTube sites and stuff like that. Absolutely amazing. That was a telepathic alert. There's more. There was the hairy snowball one, right, that I told you about earlier, okay, where all the computers went out the next day and this type of thing. Okay, that was an amazing one. We've had electrical interferences, TVs in the house started turning themselves off and on, changing channels independently. The car's engines, like the one on Alien Mountain, just wouldn't start, okay? One drove up the hill and just stalled. I said, nice, because we live on a nice steep hill, you know. And then we had strange things like emails. I don't know if anyone's ever had this before. I haven't heard anyone with it. Emails started writing and sending themselves. Amazing. Yeah. Then there was the one where my wife, we were all out doing sky watches. Sometimes I had 16, 17, 18 UFOs a night that I filmed, okay? They're all on the film clips and stuff like that. A lot of them are. But my wife and I were sitting outside with the kids at the time. This is 2000, it's millennium. And all of a sudden, this bright light came down in the northeast. And my wife says, my God, that's coming down, and it hovered. Satellites don't hover, or they don't shoot off in different directions. They run a straight course, okay? And this one, my wife got frightened of. And she jumped up from the chair. My God, it's coming down. And it was coming down. It was coming down. She jumped up and, my God! She was afraid. Fear. It stopped and hovered. And then it shot off, up again, out of sight, very fast. I said to her, they pick up on your emotions. They didn't want to continue coming down, but it was a nice hello. She says, yeah, next time, maybe I won't be so frightened. But she had seen many before that, too. How much time we got here?
1 minute.
You're not well, you know. But normal people are boring, so that's okay. Okay, seen UFOs all over the world, too. Let me give you one more here. Out on the interstate highways in the States by Flagstaff, Arizona. Well, you see them all over the world, but this is a great one because there's very few people I know that have anything like this kind of a sighting to report. And maybe it's just because we're all individuals. Who knows, okay? If we're open, we experience things through our individual selves or whatever. But I had someone with me who saw the same thing. So I'm not sure about that statement either, except that we're all individuals, we hope, okay? Standing at the side of the road, you'll find in America, people get out of their cars or they're outside doing sky watches or they're signaling UFOs with halogen lamps and this type of thing. Things like that, okay? Turning the light off and on, really. So I'm standing on the side of the road and I'm signaling just up in the air like that. And I have my girlfriend with me. I wasn't married at the time, okay? And all of a sudden, this bluish UFO comes over the road, major interstate highway, very late at night though, very few cars. But there were some cars passing, and we're off the side of the road, signaling. This craft dumped what I can only call blue paint that splashed all over the road and up and over the cars. Didn't hit me because I'm off the side of the road. Okay? The people in the cars, they were lit up. They didn't seem to notice. Now the same thing again happened on my way into Chicago. Major interstates, cloverleaf type things. I'm coming into the city. Same type of craft came over, dumped this blue paint all over the roads, lit up hundreds of cars. No one seemed to notice. what does that say about people's worldview or reality views or what have you? Okay, none of them seem to notice. My girlfriend next to me, thank goodness, said, "Oh my God, what's that?" She knew. She saw the same thing I did. So what happens in occasions like that? You know, I could go on, but they will not permit me. So is there anything else we should show these folks? Thanks all for your attention and being here. Do you have a question, sir? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. It's been very nice to be here again, and look forward to Charlie Hall. Don't forget, go to Amazon.com. I don't have anything to do with his enterprises, but his new book, The Greys, are very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Sweet. Excellent. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I was going to let you speak more, but I've got too many speakers.
I know.
10 minutes, folks. We were right behind time, so just a quick cup of coffee and be back, please. Thank you.